Good afternoon. Welcome back. Kent Bain with Nine Business Group and Elevate Your Business Spotlight interview. We have Tyler. Tyler, are you joining us today? Tyler, please welcome, introduce yourself, your company, but most importantly, your core product, core service, and what makes you different from the competition. Welcome.
Nice to be here. And my name's Tyler Argue. I'm President and CEO of Westbridge Ventures Canada LP, a holistic and full service risk management firm based out of Calgary, but spread throughout Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, and Yellowknife. And very soon we'll be servicing Ontario and the Eastern markets. Um, so our core service would be investigative services, mostly primarily for the corporate and insurance markets.
Can you give us an example? It's a pretty broad statement. Can you give us an example of kind of
Absolutely.
maybe one thing that you might be well known for?
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is in insurance investigation. I started out in surveillance and started doing claims examination, helping with litigation support on insurance claims that maybe needed a little bit more investigative work on it before an adjuster settles the claim, right? So that was what we started as, and that kind of branched out into a bit of cybersecurity. My background is in information security to the ISO 27001 standards. And then it just started growing into more of the corporate stuff. So financial audit, that's sort of line of work.
That doesn't sound like fun. So good for you. Financial audit, not my strength, but someone's got to do it. So, in the many years of being in business, what has been the biggest challenge you've had to overcome? And what does it look like today? How did you solve it?
Yeah, honestly, I think the largest thing that I've had to overcome in business as a small business owner, initially starting out, was managing myself. And that's probably unpopular, but I learned that in order to grow the business, I've had to learn to delegate and relinquish some of those things. So, before we get on to the call here, I was explaining how, you know, customer care and customer service and those relationships that we develop as business owners, and you can sometimes hold them a little too close. And by doing so, you really can't scale. And so as a business advisor had told me here in Calgary, he advised me just find out what works best, what you're doing good, and find somebody that subscribes to the same business methodologies as you do, and repeat those processes. And so I had to find good strategic partners in my business, both as partners but also employees that that I could delegate and relinquish those responsibilities to, so that I could work at the business, not in the business. So I think the biggest struggle for me was learning how to do that.
That's great. So, kind of building upon that, then, if you look back, managing yourself, learning to delegate, what's been the greatest lesson you've learned in business? You know, that one thing you know now that you would go back in time and go, let's give that to younger Tyler on day one of entrepreneurship.
That's actually a really good question. Um, yeah, I think some financial advice on just how to manage the business financially, and maybe prepare for the growth of the business. I think in my younger years I wasn't prepared. I was mentally prepared to take on more work, but financially, when a client says go and you have to produce, it's a whole different ballgame when you switch from being a business consultant and now you're a full-fledged, service provider with employees, and you've got that overhead. Um, that was a huge learning curve for us, and one that we navigated, I think, very delicately, but obviously with some mistakes along the way, some bruises. I wish that I would have taken a little bit more time in my younger years to learn more about that business administration side from a financial perspective.
It's great advice. I'm going to go one step further, I think, and hopefully
Mhm.
you would echo that with your working with other business owners as well, as knowing what our strengths are. And it's great to say go if we're working in the space we're good at. But many entrepreneurs have different types of gaps. Some are good financially, some not so much. So I think it's one thing to say go in your areas of strength, but just that awareness to maybe where some of the gaps are and being mindful of that, because those are a bit hard to catch up with as well. If you're, if those aren't as strong as your strengths. I see you nodding your head. Comments on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it reminds me of when I worked for a larger corporation, there was a bit of a story behind the CEO and what he had gone through in his younger years. And this is a fairly big organization, doing probably north of 900 million a year now. But in the younger years of that corporation, um, he had learned to the art of saying no to a client. Sometimes you just have to say no. And that resonated with me down the road as after I opened up my own business. And you know, just because you're a business owner and you're a young entrepreneur, you innately want to say yes and not turn away everything. But in the end, um, the lesson is that that's not always a good thing, right? And staying within your niche, working it and doing a good job, and relying on that the work is gonna follow is something that, rather than chasing everything that that looks attractive, staying within that niche and not chasing everything and diluting yourself down and thinning yourself out, I think is key.
Wonderfully said. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I think it is so true that we get distracted by so many things, and um, just getting enough reps in to get good at something. And
Right.
yeah, I think the sage advice there is learn how to say no and say yes to the right things. So thank you. If there was a pirate or a thief in your business, given that you're a security expert, what would they be stealing from you?
Oh boy. Just so I'm clear, so if there was something like a business risk that I'm facing, are you asking?
Yeah, what, or maybe paraphrase different, what is the most important thing of value to your business that
Mhm.
would be the hardest to replace that you want to protect at all costs?
Absolutely. That's a great one. I would answer that with our talent. The talent that we've hired has been very carefully selected, and the line of work that we're in is very specific, very niche in investigations and the like of what we do. So the people that we hire, it takes a lot of time to get them trained up and up to speed. With the other investigators that we have. Keep in mind that a lot of our staff come in from 20, 30 years of policing. And so when you hire somebody right out of university or somebody that just got their uh, accounting degree or private investigator's license, depending on the division they're working in, it takes years, months, and years to develop them into that niche, like the cybersecurity or the insurance industries that we work in. And so it's oftentimes we'll put a caveat into that training that we have to retain them for X amount of period before they leave, or we recoup that cost at a clawback. So, but yeah, if there was something that I would protect at all cost, it would be our talent bench for sure.
Nice. No, very important. We can't do without them, can we?
No, not at all.
Last question for you. You shared some very personal things with me before we hit record. So I guess a good question or a good time for this question is, what do you want to be known for? 5 years from now, 25 years from now, you've accomplished everything you want. What is the single solitary thing that you want people to know about you and remember about you?
It's actually probably something that not a lot of people know about me currently, and that is that I did leave home at a very young age and dropped out of school at grade 11. It's something that I've been a little bit more open and transparent about as I joined some of our facilitators in opening up our leadership discussions and learning to be a little bit more proud of that. Not proud as in I don't think that was a great choice that I made in my younger years, but proud in the resiliency that I showed to get me to where I'm at today. And I think the message would be to other people that for whatever life circumstances thrown at them at the younger years, that I think there's a bit of a facade, and society sometimes echoes that you need to go to university, you need an MBA, you need all of these degrees, and for the record, they are very important. But ironically, I went to school after I got my GED and got my associate's degree in paramedicine, and I haven't used that. Obviously, I'm in a complete different line of work. So, education is very important, absolutely. But most importantly, above and beyond anything, is that determination and grit and a spirit of perseverance.
You're the second person who said that today, and then a friend of mine said it to me a year and a half ago, and I think all entrepreneurs get a PhD. It's not the one from the school, though. It's short for pig-headed determination, and we all get that PhD eventually. It just comes in waves and probably in droves. So you said grit, determination, and perseverance.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Entrepreneurship throws some curveballs at you, right? And I'm still facing them, and I most likely will right into the end. And uh, surround yourself with some good business advisors. I think that those three things, that grit, determination, perseverance, understanding that you know you don't need to give up at the first struggle, right? Work through it, keep cool head, and persevere through those tough times.
Excellent. Last one, more of the shameless self-plug. Who's your ideal
Yeah,
client? Who should find you? And more importantly, where would they find you to become a client of yours, get more information on what you do and how you help?
great question. So our ideal client would be anybody looking for a niche business risk solution in either insurance, litigation support, cybersecurity. Um, they can find us. We're fairly active on social media, whether it be Facebook or Twitter, as well as LinkedIn, and they can find us also at westbridgecanada.com.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, Tyler. Appreciate it. I guess ultimately keeping the rest of us safe and and keep the pirates at bay. Thank you very much. Have a great time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.